Hi, YouTube. I almost called you Facebook. It's probably gonna go on Facebook too. There's a few things I want to advise. These are just tips and probably little morsels, nuggets of wisdom that I wish was passed on to me at the beginning of this weight loss journey. So I'm not gonna advocate for a diet or any specific diet, but I am going to discuss things that helped me and what I learned based on just what I have done and what I've seen others' successes, based on other people's successes and their stories and their tips and all that stuff. And there's tons of advice out there to lose weight, and it gets very daunting sometimes to find the ones that work for you. And oftentimes you fail so many times because you're pretty much doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing for yourself, and you're trying to mimic somebody else's weight loss journey, and it really is very much like a fingerprint, I think. But um these are just I have a list of 1 2 3 4 5 of 7 things that I feel like if somebody sat me down and talked about, like, when I first made the decision to get healthy and lose weight, that this is the things I think would have been helpful. So the first time is first time exercise. If you're used to a sedentary life, and I'm talking about these people who want to lose weight, this is for you people who want to lose a significant amount of weight. I'm not talking like a few 10, 15 extra pounds, not even 40 pounds. I'm talking a significant amount of weight to lower your BMI and you're significantly overweight or obese or more morbidly obese. And the things that I think that they don't say that I feel like they should at the very beginning of this weight loss is your first time workout's going to suck. Especially, I know I see all those weight loss shows and they do like the boot camp, personal trainers. They're working out hours at a time at the gym to do a significant weight loss for the dramatics of a TV show. And while I feel like we are very driven into that, we want that significant, dramatic before and after picture. I feel like that what they don't tell you when they start you on these journeys is that you are going to hate exercise. Your body is naturally going to resist, and they tell you that on like, oh yeah, your body's going to hate it, it's going to resist every way. What they don't tell you is that it's not like that all the time, and that your first few, maybe your week or two, depending on how often you do it, you are absolutely going to hate it. I hated cardio, hated it. And now I'm going to try to do more jogging, oddly enough. Um, but they don't tell you that, yeah, your first couple times you are absolutely going to hate it, but then they don't correct you to say you're not going to hate it all the time. And it's going to get easier the more you do it. And if they do tell you that, they don't stress that enough. It's like, yes, you're going to hate it. Your body's going to hate this, but your body will condition itself to accept that. And then I feel like that just should have been something that should have been stressed from the get-go. Like they just assume that you have to suffer. And like for like this teenage show about, I used to be fat from MTV. A lot of the times these teenagers weren't doing it for their health. They're doing it because of vanity reasons, shallow vanity reasons, to be honest. They hated being picked on for being fat, and then they wanted to get skinny, and then, like, we don't know if they were working out for like an hour and a half before they broke down on camera, and that was their emotional click moment or whatever. And the show made it look like they can't handle exercise when the show didn't specify how long they had been working out before. They just like, I don't want to do it no more. And so you think that they were working out for maybe 15 minutes at most, and like, these people are wimps. But what they don't tell you is, yeah, that first workout, it doesn't matter if it's an hour or if it's 30 minutes or if it's 2 hours, it's going to suck and you're going to hate it, and you're going to hate it the next day. But your body will get used to it. You will adapt, and it will suck less and less. It'll be just like a healed wound, I guess you can say. And then eventually the scab will be gone and it'll just be this scar and, all this other stuff. But that's a good analogy to use. The second thing, because I want to try and make this quick. The second thing is I titled "The Scale Lies." And I feel like as a society today, we do depend on that number. And weight loss shows are significant about this, especially The Biggest Loser and all that other, I mean, from what I can tell from the contestants coming on and actually saying, I love what we learned there. Um, I want to say that the number on the scale lies. And I know that they say, oh, yeah, the scale doesn't lie. And I know, like, on the 600-pound life, Dr. Narzano's like, well, you can't lie. You know, the scale says something different. Um, for those of us who are doing week to week or just every few days, and especially women, I'm going to target women here, is the hormones are at play. Number one, hormones, because when you're on your period or just PMS or everything fluctuates. It literally up to 10 pounds sometimes. I'm not sure. I'm going to say 8 to 10 pounds you can fluctuate. And so, like, one day you weigh yourself, you're like, oh, good, I'm losing weight. And then, like, 3 days later, you might get on the scale and it might say something completely different. And you feel like you're failing your diet, or you feel like you're failing your workout, or you feel like you're failing in general. And it's just, it causes anxiety because I've done it. I've done it recently. And I'm like, why is this number not going down? And oftentimes it's either my hormones are fluctuating, or this number two, muscles. When you go to the gym, and especially if you're combining cardio and strength training, you will increase muscle, and that muscle definitely adds more weight on the scale. And it's not a bad weight, it's just weight on the scale. So that number doesn't tell me, oh, Kristen, you gained 10 pounds in muscle, but here's the rest of it's fat. Like, your scale will not tell you that. And so that's oftentimes we just look at the number and think that's the total value, but there's so much more to it than that. And I'm not saying that you should be caught up in all the macros of it all and see, like, okay, this is a percentage of body fat, this is all, like, I'm I'm not saying you should be scientific about it, but I'm saying that the scale number often is very inaccurate as far as, like, day to day. One morning you could be 10 pounds skinnier, and then in the evening you're like 5 pounds heavier than you were. Like, it literally is, it's just up and down, especially for women. And when you're gaining muscle, you often think that you're not doing it, but you could be losing inches, and the scale doesn't tell you that either. So I just feel like the number on the scale is a trip up, and that's something that probably should have been discussed all the time in the beginning of your weight loss journey when you decide to get healthy. And then number three, this is something that happens that I've been seeing recently, like within the last couple days, on a weight loss group for women on Facebook. And I hear their stories all the time. And of course, I'm not going to divulge any specific information because that's, confidential, and obviously it's a private group. But the stigma of, I'm fat, I'm going to go to the gym, they're going to pick on me, they're going to laugh at me, they're going to watch me, I'm going to get judged. It's that stigma. And I get it, because in high school, PE class was the worst time because of that. Like, I didn't want to go to PE because kids were mean, they picked on me, they knew I couldn't run a lap, they knew I wasn't physically fit enough to do sports. So they were going to pick on me and be mean. And you feel like that's going to run over into the adulthood, where you actually go to the gym. And I'm here to say that's not true. And once I got over that mindset, where that was the wall that kept me from actually doing a good job, um, I know, I started noticing anyway, that nobody cared. Nobody, they may have recognized your face, they may notice you, they may recognize you from the rest of the week. Oh, you were here yesterday and the day before that, and oh, here you are again. They may notice that, and in their minds they might be really proud that you keep going. Who knows? Because I see that, I'm like that with other people too. I'm like, oh, good for them for keeping up, or wow, they're looking really good, or that person probably needs to stop. Like, you know, um, so I the only reason I say that that is specifically not true is because I had, for probably 3 months straight, made these magnets. And let's see, I have one over here. I made these magnets and I stuck them everywhere around the gym, and just random places. And I made magnets out of things like these, and I would legit just put them all over the place in the gym, and for months, just months, because I'd buy that stuff in bulk and then make them, and they're pretty much just super glue magnets on the back, right? But nobody once ever said anything to me. Nobody once questioned. Nobody once even looked at me. And I did it for months right in front of them and nobody noticed. So, point being is they're there to take care of themselves. They're there to do their workout. They're there to do it. And if they're paying attention to you and judging you on what you're doing, they're not getting their workout. And same goes for you. If you're going into the gym and you're more concerned about what they think about you, you're not being more focused on your goals. So that's just what I have to say about that. They're more interested in listening to their music, posting on Instagram, or literally doing their workout. There's nothing about that time there that they're really focused on you. So, number 4 that I feel recently has been an issue is proper attire. And I don't mean, ooh, you're supposed to cover up, or don't wear sports bra, or ooh, too bad those yoga pants are extreme. No, I mean, I when I first started to lose weight, and especially like I guess in gym class, they just say wear what's comfortable, and sometimes it's sweatpants. And I used to do sweatpants, but I have such petite legs and such a long torso that sweatpants, they didn't ever, like, I tripped up on the pant legs. Like, it was just so impeding. But I found that way in the gym too. When I first started going to the gym working out, pants was a no. It was, even if I could fit into them, like, I did not get a good workout because those pant legs got in the way. So then I switched to shorts. And now that I've actually taken my weight loss journey seriously and did really good in my workouts, those shorts are baggy. And now, because I'm fat, I have that mindset that I need to wear bigger clothes, baggy clothes, loose fitting clothes to feel good. And the problem is that that's good maybe in public where I feel self-conscious about my body, but in the gym, it's not very practical because the loose, all that loose baggy clothes is um often in the way of me actually doing a good job. Like, now that I want to jog, those baggy shorts end up threatening to either drop, or they get bunched up in my thighs, or like I understand the need for form fitting clothes. And as much as I feel uncomfortable with my body and being the size that I am, I feel like maybe I shouldn't wear those clothes because they look like crap. And again, there's that gym judgment going into play. But I also realize I want to optimize my workout. And so generally the better fitting, less baggy shorts are the ones that are going to give me the better workout in the long run, to where they like, obviously they fit where bagginess is not necessarily something that's going to get in the way. So that's just what I found out. And maybe you guys are good wearing yoga pants. I'm definitely not the body type that's ever going to wear yoga pants. Let's get rid of my fupa first. um I'm going to go into more of the food aspect now. The first time was about exercise, but the food aspect. And that's the idea of health foods. And I'm not going to be a naysayer about if you do want to buy that keto breakfast meat, or if you do want to, like, I'm not a big thing about health foods in general. Health foods to me are healthy foods, and that means foods that are not in a box, or not packaged, or not processed. And you think, oh, she's against processed. I mean, literally things that are not pre-mixed and set in a box to be sold for a specific purpose like that. I feel like that I'm not a hater on the chemicals, because mind you, I drink soda that's zero sugar soda, and I like that cocktail because it tastes good. And I never used to drink a lot of soda, but now that I'm diabetic and I can't have sugar and I'm not supposed to drink calories, that is the one soda that I actually do drink regularly now. Not a lot of. But health foods, if they say low fat, if they say low calorie, if they say gluten free, it doesn't mean it's necessarily healthy for you. And they can even say organic. And I heard that certain marketing manipulate or marketing ploys, or that they can say organic on the package, but it doesn't have to actually mean the food. It can mean the package that they're in, which means it's organic and you can recycle it, or biodegradable. And that's also a little misgiven too. So the health foods that are marketed towards the specific diets, or a high protein, or especially keto, because that seems to be really popular, it doesn't mean it's healthy for you. It just means that it follows the certain guidelines of that diet. But when I became diabetic, I realized, well, all the processed foods are out the window. But in but in any diet, from what I understand, from what I have gleaned from watching thousands of YouTube videos, is that any packaged foods are out of the question for everybody that wants to lose weight. So health foods to me aren't necessarily about the chemicals, because yes, they do have to do certain cocktails to make it taste good so that you will eat it, but it's more about, are you really going to process it well? Is it going to digest well? Are you going to absorb the nutrients that you should? It's all about just that. And if that, I mean, you might as well just end up making it yourself. So the health foods in general, if it's boxed and it's labeled for a specific purpose like that, I don't necessarily trust it and I don't buy it. So I get the healthier options. Oh, look, the healthier Cheetos. It's still Cheetos. It's still snacks that you shouldn't be eating. It doesn't matter if it's marketed organic. It really shouldn't be. You really shouldn't be eating it. And that's my personal opinion as well. Not a specific diet again, but when you round it all up, no, you shouldn't be eating those packaged foods. You should be eating a healthier, fresh option. Um, so that's the health foods. And then this another one on the list is, I call it food cheating. And I wouldn't necessarily, I guess I'm going to have to say, just for the sake of this concept, is cheating on your diet. Because I don't follow a specific diet, I don't do a specific diet, and I'm not promoting any specific diets. But if you're following on a diet, and I've heard people say, as long as you stick with it, you will gain success. You just have to commit to it, and you will lose weight. You will see the weight loss. But if you trip up and eat something like a cheesecake, or you go off the rails, and everybody's going to McDonald's and you're hungry, so you go off on like you do like a Big Mac meal or something like that. It's okay to understand that's probably a mistake. You probably shouldn't have done that, but the ways that you should react to food cheating like that, would be to understand ways you can combat that, ways that you can eliminate the temptation, and ways that maybe just accept the fact you made a mistake and move on. That those could be cheat days, and that you just continue on with your same diet, you continue on with the exercise. You don't punish yourself, especially don't punish yourself, because that's a wrong mindset to have, and just move on. I have done cheats. Like, Halloween was my cheat day, and I compensated for it. I said, okay, I got to get my butt to the gym. I got to push myself to work hard to burn those calories. And you know what? I may have matched my calories that day because I knew I was going to be eating junk. And I didn't necessarily say I didn't come home and like eat something healthy. I think I had like a salad at some point, but in general, I did graze on candy all day, but that was it. And then that was it. I didn't bring the candy home. I actually left it. I left the big huge bag with my friends. I was like, it's not coming home with me. And it didn't. And I'm glad, because the next day, as much as I gained like 8 pounds just from that. But like I said, a lot of that could be hormones and bloatedness. And obviously that was probably the results of me binging. I gotta be honest. Um, but I literally was like, okay, I can lose that within a week. And I got back on track. And that was it. I allowed myself to have that day, and I just kept going on track. It didn't stump me. Okay, so just understanding the food cheating, just understanding ways. And personally, for me, my food cheating happened when I was on my way to work, or on a whim, I'd go to the store. I wouldn't necessarily need anything. I didn't have a grocery list. I didn't have a plan. I just dropped by the store because I wanted something. There's a want and a need. If I don't need anything, like to restock my fridge or something like that, then I don't go to the store. And if I do go to the store on those times, it's because I want something and crave something, and that's when I fall susceptible to temptation. Again, not everybody has that same willpower or that same temptation, but that's what I started noticing. And then I'm like, okay, well, then I guess my rule is, like, to understand when I made those cheat days or the cheat meals when I was on impulse, those were the times where I would just go to the store. So now I can't go to the store unless it's to stock something, like I need more apples, I needed some milk, I needed coffee creamer, it's a specific one too, and I needed some more yogurts. Like, it's things that I needed to restock. I needed more of the special bread that I eat. Like, I have no more bread, so how am I going to make sandwiches? So it was about going to the store and actually restocking stuff that's healthy. But if I was just to go to the store because, I really want some like donuts, and then bam, you're in there. And then I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have donuts. And then there's this over here. And oh, look how beautiful that is over there. And then you're surrounded by temptation when you didn't have a game plan in the beginning. So that was what I had to do. And that you just need to learn from it. You need to identify ways that made you susceptible to temptation, find out ways to combat it, and then when you do slip up, allow yourself just to slip up. Say, I understand I made a mistake, and learn from it and move on. Don't trip up, because this is a good analogy to use, because just because you cheated on your diet doesn't mean your diet is going to divorce you. Okay? There you go. So the other one that's kind of interesting that kind of goes along with the food cheating is food integration. And I call it food integration. That's just my term for it. Is I see a lot on the women's weight loss group that they want to justify keeping the foods that got them fat. They don't want to give that up. And I understand completely, because I'm a binge eater and I'm a sugar addict. So I definitely wanted to justify having certain foods around, and I just can't. Um, but they want ways to keep that in their life. And so they'll try to gain people's support and tips and hacks. And then they'll be like, "Oh, I can totally do this." And then they wonder why they're not losing weight. So one of the things I would like that I often do, because I've done this myself, is obviously when I became type 2 diabetic, I had to drop my sugar and my carbs. Not necessarily my carbs. I did cut back on carbs a lot because I learned ways that you need to still have it in your diet. But sweets and sugars, most definitely I had to cut off cold turkey. And as much as I hated it, obviously as a diabetic and didn't want to be on medications or insulin to manage those diabetes. So one of the things I was committed to doing was managing my diabetes with diet and exercise. And it works. And I did it, and I'm doing it. But one of the things I had to do was just cut out those foods that were making me fat. And it wasn't just carbs and sugar, it was high fat foods. It was foods that I knew were heavy in cholesterol. It was those greasy, meaty foods. It was, things like that. I had to be like, okay, I'm going to leave these off my list, not have them part of my life, not put them in my cart when I go grocery shopping. Those are not going in my refrigerator. They're not even going in my vehicle. No, no, none of that. And I had to physically force myself to put foods in there I'm going to have to eat. Like apples was a good substitute, and low. There's only one yogurt I actually do like, and it's lower in sugar than average yogurts, and it has high protein, and it's because it's Greek and it's the probiotics and all that stuff. I keep that part too. Hate that it's going to have to be milk fat, but the ones I tried to look at anyway. But food integration. Sorry, I'm digressing. My advice to these people, or the few that I have seen that have posted such confessions, are cut them out of your diet completely. Cold turkey. Keep them off your diet until you become healthier. And I want to say healthier, but really until you get to a more controlled weight where you're more in control of your diet. When you have more control of your diet. And then slowly enjoy them, very, very sporadically. Because oftentimes you were eating them in excess to make yourself that weight. And so if you want to enjoy them, it's okay to enjoy it. It's okay to enjoy a piece of cheesecake every now and then. That's okay. Especially like I enjoyed a donut today. Yes, a donut. Imagine that. It was one cake donut. I allowed myself to go to the store and been like, okay, I can have this. Okay, one. And it was like, what, 300 calories or whatever. But that was kind of part of my lunch calories. And so I allowed myself to eat that. And I even put it in my calorie counter and was like, okay, but I am going to the gym. So as long as I stay under a certain amount of calories and over a certain amount of calories, I'm fine. But I allowed myself that one treat. But before, I couldn't have any of that, because I wasn't just eating one donut, I was eating like five. And I was doing it every other day or almost every day. So I understand the importance of, I don't want to give up that kind of food, but you kind of do. Like pasta was it for me, because even the whole wheat stuff that you think should be healthier wasn't healthier. It still spiked my blood sugar. It still made me unhealthy. And I'm like, okay, well, I still don't eat pasta. I miss it, but I still don't eat pasta because it's just easy to overeat it. unless they can get it in like single serving packets. I'm not going to eat it. And honestly, you can't. There's anyway, but cut it out of your diet until you're more in control of your diet and at a healthier weight to accept it. And then what I said is enjoy it, but enjoy a little bit of it. Don't enjoy it as often as you think you need to. What is going on? My cat. Okay. And then you can slowly integrate it back in. That's what I call food integrations. You don't have to be restrictive. You can just be normal. Like you can have, like when you do go out, you can have an ice cream cone with your friends. Yeah, that's a treat. You don't have it very often, and I'm gonna suggest even if you buy it, don't finish it. Like, obviously, don't finish it. Enjoy the few moments of it, but understand that diet your diet has to change in order for you to lose weight. And I even told her, I said, I think you know already. You don't want to let go of these things that are making you fat, but you're going to have to until you can take control of your diet. So these are just the things that I learned that obviously I'm not in my goal weight, and I'm far from being successful as far as giving advice on here, because most of the weight loss tips I see are people that were significantly overweight and are super skinny now. And like, look, I can lose 150 pounds. I'm going to tell you how. I'm like, it's so easy to get wrapped up in that web. And I just want to let you know that these are the things I feel like people should probably talk about more if you make a legitimate choice to move forward with weight loss and take control of that. If you just want to go to the gym or whatever, and you just I just think if you're making a conscious decision to do this, this is the thing I'd probably discuss with people in the beginning. And I'm not talking about people that just want to lose like 50 to 30, no, or 15 to 30 pounds. I'm talking about people that want to lose a significant amount of weight because of their health. And because that's just, I was thinking about things that I wish I knew to begin with, and that would have made it a lot easier for me. And I don't mean way back when I was overweight and a teenager. I'm talking about now, where I'm like, okay, I have to make a change. These changes would have been a lot easier to make, and I probably would have made them a little bit sooner had somebody had said, look, this is what's going on. These are what can happen, and this is a reality for everybody. And it really is. I want to try to, like, I know I can say this is my opinion, but again, I didn't specify any specific diet. I don't even want to use the word diet because it's so stigmatized now as something to be derogatory instead of something about your eating habits. But these are mine. The first time exercise, the scale, and focusing too much on the number on the scale as a means of as it being gospel for progress, and gym judgment, proper attire, health foods, food cheating, and food integration. And so if you made it past this far in my video, I'm hoping that this helps, and that if there are anything you feel like you don't agree with, and you feel like you probably think that that is not something that you're feel free to leave an opinion, and I'll read it and consider it. I won't ignore it unless it's absolutely mean and rude, but feel free to leave your tips and what you wish somebody would have told you at the beginning of your weight loss journey. Because you already know the losing weight was going to be hard work. And you already know that a lot of people hate doing cardio. So it's probably not something that's fun. But I just want to let you know what did it for me, and what things I wish would have been told to me at the very get-go. So, and oftentimes the people that you see struggling online or on social media or on TV shows, I feel like this is what they probably should have been told also. So there's that. So anyway, thank you for listening.